in Canvas doing the medical examiners and autopsies. And this morning we're going to have a little field trip. Canvas. Okay. All right, I think we got most everybody in. So let me pause this. All right, so like I said, we're going to do a field trip first this morning. And then I think I kind of gave you a heads up on the assignment that I'm going to give you. I don't know how many of y'all did it, but I'm going to give you the assignment to figure out who is the medical examiner in your area, or do you have a coroner? Because the video we saw the other day says some areas have both, some areas just have one. So I want you to do a little homework and figure out what it is you have. One is voted for. This weekend I voted, and one of the things on the ballot was to vote for the coroner. And the medical examiner is not elected. He is just a doctor. The coroner doesn't have to be a doctor, but he does have a lot of responsibility. So we're going to look at the difference between the two. I'm still admitting people. I'm trying to wait till everybody's in before I start the video. All righty. Almost everybody. Because once I start this, I may not see everybody coming in. All right, so jot down some notes while you're watching. Now, like I said, this is just a virtual tour. So just jot down some notes on what it is he's doing. This is Cobb County Medical Examiners, they didn't have a video for your area, but we are in Georgia. So just kind of pay attention. Everybody should be on camera, not taking, I know it's Monday and you got to wake up and all that good stuff, but try to stay on camera. Okay. Okay, hold on a second. I forgot to do the volume on the share. So give me 1 second to make sure that's turned on. There we go, share sound. All right, we're back.
We're about to take a walk through our new medical examiner's office and get a chance to see where the doctors and staff of the medical examiner's office work. So when our transport service or other transporters bring us a new case, they come into our Sally port where the decedents can be offloaded and put directly into one of the coolers. As we walk through, our system is designed to be very wide, where we can manage two cases at once, somebody coming in and leaving, or two cases coming in, or two cases leaving. The cases are weighed on our floor scale and then would be put into a walk-in cooler. In the mornings, those cases will be brought out We work 24/7, 365. At any point, we're capable of responding to a death, no matter where it is in the county. And at that point, the next day, we will bring out the cases that have been brought in over the previous day for an examination. We do exams routinely 6 days a week, and sometimes 7. All of our entries into the morgue go through a biovestibule. Our morgue is considered a biohazardous area because each decedent may have diseases that we don't know about. So as we walk into the morgue, the main autopsy room, you can see we have 4 autopsy stations that are routinely used. The video monitors on the wall are designed to project x-rays, whole body x-rays, so we can see the decedent all at once. The surgical lights are there to provide additional lighting inside the decedent in dark areas that the standard lighting is not able to reach, or to provide additional light to any other point that needs to be there. We have a body lift directly above that is capable of lifting up to 1,000 pounds. We haven't had a 1,000-pound decedent, but we've gotten quite close. This allows us to manipulate them without hurting ourselves. We store all of our tissue and toxicology samples on site. However, our toxicology testing is done at an outside laboratory. Very few of our tools are particularly specialized. We do use a bone saw, which is similar to a cast saw, but otherwise we use scissors and knives and forceps, just like some of which would be at home in a kitchen, most of which would be at home in a surgical pathology or a hospital pathology room. When we look at advances in forensic pathology over the past 100 years, probably the largest advancement was the power bone saw. Refrigeration and radiographs have been around for much longer than 100 years, but it's important to realize that as a forensic pathologist, our most important tools are our eyes and our brain and our hands. There is no magical device that you can stick a decedent into that tells you the answer. The answer is discovered by learning, by seeing, and by doing, not by some analysis done by a machine necessarily. But we do have a really spiffy new machine that I'd love to show you. Radiography has been around for over 100 years, but whole body radiography has not been. It's only been around for the past 15 years or so, maybe a little bit longer. It was actually developed as part of a South African diamond mines protocol for doing radiography on diamond miners, because as it turns out, it used to be quite common to steal diamonds by swallowing them. But since they're radio-opaque because they're so dense, it meant that diamond miners got radiographed quite a lot. So this company developed a whole body radiograph system for diamond miners and then found a good way to change it so that it was useful in the forensic setting and in the trauma setting. So this is the forensic model of our Lodox, which does an entire whole body x-ray in 14 seconds. And we use that for all of our trauma cases and all of our gunshot cases and anytime we think we'd like to see an x-ray. So it gets routinely used quite a bit. We're going to move into what is our special autopsy room. And our special autopsy room is used for cases which may be infectious, which may be decomposed, but we also have a station in here to work with skeletonized remains or neuropathology. And as you can see, working right now on a skeletonized set of remains. Obviously not all of the bones are here, but a fair amount of them are. And so we will be determining the height and the sex and the race of this decedent based on skeletal characteristics. There are charts to measure the length of the femur to help determine the height of the individual. There are methods that we can use with the pelvis to determine whether the decedent is male or female. And there are cranial characteristics that help determine race or racial origin. As you can see, this is a single autopsy station and is used for, like I said, infectious cases. We do have the capability to broadcast to an observation deck for police officers who need to be present for their autopsy. We can keep them safe while we do it. This isn't a general education tool. It can be used for medical education, but we don't have a sign-up list for who gets to come watch an autopsy because that's not very respectful to the decedent. So we're back in the main autopsy suite, and to just sort of wrap up, forensic pathology is a unique position in government. I like to say that the medical examiner's office sits at the intersection of public safety and public health. So over the past year and a half, we've all been very concerned with the public health crisis that has been going on in the world. And the entire time, the medical examiner's office has continued to work to identify potential infected individuals who are dying as a result of their disease and certifying their deaths appropriately. But at the same time, we're still responsible for assisting public safety with determining whether a deceased individual is the victim of a crime or whether or not the death is natural. So without the medical examiner's office, the police wouldn't be able to do their job when it comes to investigating deaths. Without the medical examiner's office, public health wouldn't be able to do their job with accurate certification of death certificates and determination of the prevalence of disease in our population. And as rarely as we interact, without the medical examiner's office, the district attorney probably wouldn't really be able to take a homicide case to trial because there's too many unanswered questions without the medical examiners becoming involved in the case. So in that unique position, we work very closely with the district attorney. We work very closely with all of public safety. We work very closely with all of public health and provide information to those organizations. But beyond that, we're involved with the local hospital's trauma service in giving them feedback on ways they can do better, or how they did good in the process. We're also involved intimately with organ donation and procurement, making sure that life-saving organs reach the people that need them. We also work very closely to get tissue donation, corneas and bones to people who need them. So the best thing about my job is that I don't do the same thing every day. Some days I'm in here all day, and some days I'm working with the health department, or working with the police department, or working with the district attorney to try and make sure that the information we have found is making it to the people who need it. And of course, daily we work with grieving families to make sure that they have the closure that they need for their loved one. Thank you for taking a walk through our morgue with us.
So I have some questions. Hopefully you were taking notes so that you can answer these questions. All right, first question, and you can answer this in the chat. Hopefully you wrote this down, because I'm going to make these quiz questions. What is the science or the doctor specialty?
When you see the words medical examiner, you might think the words coroner or undertaker.
I'm trying to stop this video. Okay, back to you. All right, name of the doctor who specializes in taking care of the medical examiner's office. Somebody type it in the chat. If you don't know, make sure you write it down when they do. Thank you, Emily. Thank you. A pathologist. Okay, forensic pathologist, because they specialize not just in pathology, but in pathology of deceased cases. All right, so make sure y'all write that down. Second question. When they bring the corpse in, why are they considered a biohazard? Again, anybody type in the chat? All right, Alicia says, because they have potential diseases. Excellent, excellent. Love it that y'all are listening. Because they have pathogens. That's also news journals. Thank you, Deja. All righty. My next question. What do they use the radiograph for? Yet an interesting story. For the forensics department, what are they using the radiograph for? Full body x-rays. Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Excellent. All right, I hope y'all were writing those things down. All right. And I had some other questions, but I'll say, oh, I got one more question. They use the radio x-ray. Yes. I thought that was an interesting story about the miners deciding to swallow the diamonds. That is too interesting. They're serious about those diamonds. Can you imagine that you go to work and then before you leave work, you have to have a full body x-ray before you leave? Those diamonds are expensive. They don't want you running off with any. All right. One more question. 3 departments or agencies that the medical examiner can report to or needs to report to. Name 3 people, individuals, or agencies that the medical examiner reports to. answer to that question. Let me make sure I put this in. I saved it to your files. I did. Okay. So, all right. So that is, if you need to watch it again, it's saved to the playlist. One of them is with Oregon. Back over here. Bureau of Investigations, police officers, health investigators, defense attorney. Okay, good. All right. Law enforcement, criminal justice, funeral homes. Okay, y'all are missing two departments. If they're infectious, where do they? What do you think they need to let them? What's the name of the place for them? So all your answers are good, but you're leaving everybody left out. No, not the hospital pharmacy. Starts public health. Thank you, Kayla. Public health and public safety. Public health and public safety. Those two departments are very important when we were dealing with COVID, to let them know what they find. So public health and public safety are two agencies. And then as you mentioned before, the police department, the district attorney's office needs to know if the case, if they've decided it's a homicide, the district attorney needs to know. But in general, for the public to know, public safety and public health need to know what their findings are. All right. Any questions that came up while you were watching? Good. All right. Good. Like I said, I'm going to save these. This will be a quiz one day. But I'm glad you all were paying attention. Good. All right, so let's look at Canvas and autopsies. Now, this is so early in the morning to be talking about autopsies, but and I'm not going to read this to you, so hopefully you read it. So there's a little background on when they did that. What you need to know. So you can click on this timeline, you click on them, and then they'll tell you what happened. So this is a summary. And again, I'm not going to read it to you. So hopefully you will read it to yourself. But click on each of these to see what is going on during those time periods, and then continue and then click. So take a few minutes if you haven't done that already and read through the timeline till you get to kind of present day events.
Corners of a hospital.
you're reading over both of those and listening to that second video, I need to do attendance. So I'll come back and share in a minute. I know this, so we watched the video. I did put it on the playlist, so if you go back, you can watch that. I did have some questions that you need to know from the video. All right, so again, hopefully you went through both the timeline and the Carnival of Cadavers. let's look at this brief film on autopsies. And again, like the last time, please jot down some questions because I'm going to jot down some questions to ask you.
Hi, eager to know what happens next in the autopsy theater? Wait, let's see it now. But before that, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay updated about our new videos. Autopsy, also called postmortem examination or abduction, is a specialized surgical procedure of the body of a dead person. The word autopsy comes from the Greek word autopsia, which means to see for oneself. Autopsy may be area-specific or whole-body examination. There are mainly two types of autopsies: medico-legal autopsy or forensic autopsy. Clinical or pathological autopsies. Clinical or pathological autopsies are conducted for research purpose and they throw light into disease pattern, efficiency of a recent surgery or any clinical treatment, pathological abnormality detection, and also on the quality of the hospital care. In other cases like clinical ones,
Pause that, go back so that you could get the two types.
of a dead person. The word autopsy comes from the Greek word autopsia, which means to see for oneself. Autopsy may be area-specific or whole-body examination. There are mainly two types of autopsies: medico-legal autopsy or forensic.
That would be good, wouldn't it? There we go. Try this again.
Autopsy, also called postmortem examination or abduction, is a specialized surgical procedure of the body of a dead person. The word autopsy comes from the Greek word autopsia, which means to see for oneself. Autopsy may be area-specific or whole-body examination. There are mainly two types of autopsies: medico-legal autopsy or forensic autopsy.
Okay, I'm going to write those two down right there. Medical legal or forensic.
Clinical or pathological autopsies. Clinical or pathological autopsies are conducted for research purpose and they throw light into disease pattern, efficiency of a recent surgery or any clinical treatment, pathological abnormality detection, and also on the quality of the hospital care. In other cases like clinical ones, the physician who was treating the patient for a while will be asked to be present in the autopsy theater and he can be a silent observer. Medico-legal autopsies, commonly referred to as the forensic autopsy, is done to find the cause and manner of death or sometimes to identify the dead body. Based on the forensic autopsy report, the deaths are classified into natural, accidental, homicidal, suicidal, undetermined. Autopsy procedures might vary.
All right, write those down. So move that out the way. So these will come under the forensic autopsy. What they will determine is if the cause of death was natural, accidental, homicide, suicide, or undetermined.
vary based on the purpose for which it is conducted, but as a general pattern, this is what happens. Each and every inch of the corpse is photographed, and the entire process of the postmortem is videographed in many countries. Pictures at the initial stage will be taken with subjects' clothes on and after they have been removed. This gives the pathologist an idea about the external injuries or struggle possibilities. Fingerprints of all possible fingers will be taken and recorded individually. If the body is in an advanced stage of decomposition, making the fingerprint fetching impossible, the physician cuts the skin carefully around the corpse wrist and take off the skin around the hand. The pathologist can wear this skin like a glove and record the fingerprint of the deceased. The body is later subjected to an X-ray examination to have a look into the body without tampering it. Bone abnormalities, locations of bullet, etc. can be found in X-ray. X-ray spectrometry is also done to trace evidence like gunpowder deposit or paint flakes on the body. The forensic pathologists are well versed in examining and testing the body fluids. The blood and vitreous humor from the eyes provide valuable information about the toxicology, DNA typing, and physiological conditions of the patient. Vitreous humor, being a cellular and isolated from other body fluids, can reveal alcohol or drug abuse in the body. Metabolic disorders like diabetes can also be identified and quantified. Done with the external examinations and closely noting down and imaging all the important observations, the pathologist will now proceed for the internal examination. Before cutting open the body, the torso is placed on a rubber or wooden block, extending the body arc and thus creating greater access to the thoracic and abdomen area. It is unusual to examine the face, arms, hands, and legs internally. The internal examination begins with a large, deep, Y-shaped incision made from shoulder to shoulder, meeting at the breastbone or sternum, and extending as a single line all down till the pubic bone. Some pathologists use T-incision also if the subject is male. In either cases, there is little or no bloodshed, as there is no heart pumping, and the only blood pressure comes from gravity. After the Y incision is made, the skin is peeled back, and the muscle and soft tissue is detached using a scalpel. This exposes the rib cage and neck muscles. 2 cuts are made on each side of the rib cage, and it is pulled out from the skeleton. Larynx, esophagus, arteries, ligaments, etc. are cut and detached. Organs attached to the spinal cord as well as attachment to the bladder and sternum are severed, and now the entire organs can be pulled out for detailed inspection. Blood vessels, major ones, are bisected and examined. In due course of examination, all organs are weighed and examined. Weighing of organs like heart or lungs is done because some type of illness can cause reduction or increase in weight. Examination for wound and their type and depth can lead to valuable clues, especially in homicidal cases. Tissue samples taken from organs in the form of slices are viewed microscopically. The organs, if they are to be retained outside the body, are fixed in formalin, which facilitates firming and preservation. Firming using formalin helps in further detailed investigation. Tissue samples are sometimes frozen and stored for further legal implications. The physician can also order for toxicological and gas chromatography of blood in tissue samples to look for poisoning and metabolic byproduct assay. Later, the abdomen examination begins. The stomach and intestine contents are examined and weighed. This could be useful to find the cause and time of death due to the nasal passage of food through the bowel during digestion. The emptier the area, the longer the deceased had gone without a meal before death. Injuries, if any, to the intestine, spleen, gallbladder, etc. are paid detailed attention. The final stage of examination is the head and the brain examination. For this, the rubber or the wooden block is moved to elevate the head. The skull is cut open by making a cut across the crown of the head from the bony bump behind one ear to the other. Skin and hair are peeled back, exposing the skull. Using a circular or a semicircular saw, The top of the skull is cut off and the skull cap is removed with a chisel, revealing the brain. Brain examination can show whether the deceased had degenerating diseases like Alzheimer's or meningitis. If necessary, the brain is taken out, weighed, and examined. Tissue samples are taken for further record. Brain, if retained for clinical purposes, needs to be fixed in formalin. Reconstitution of the body is the final step after examination of the corpse. The organs are returned to the body, unless otherwise ordered. If the organs are returned, they are placed in bags to prevent leakage. The body is being sewed back using the characteristic baseball stitch, and prior to this, the cavity are lined with cotton wool or similar material to give it the normal appearance. The autopsy is finished and the body is now intact. Based on the observation and pathological and toxicological research, the forensic physician now prepares the report with the sufficient photographs and video recordings.
Sorry, they're already advertising other videos. Okay. So what's another name for an autopsy? Said that a long time ago at the beginning. Another name for an autopsy. Post-mortem examination. Thank you, Emily. You're on it today. And thank you for reminding me, Alyssa, that I should put closed caption on, because it was amazing how you understood her better once you were seeing the closed caption. So that was a good thing to do. All righty. Let me publish this part here. All right, so let's take a look on your next page in Canvas. So take a few minutes to read through this. And then go through this page, please. So if it's not published for you, refresh your page, because I just published it. In fact, let me go out here and just publish the module, because we're not very long. So everybody should be here. All right, so again, take a few minutes to read through this. Just watch the video on the procedures. Take a few minutes to jot down these steps and examine the tools that are used. And again, this video will be on the playlist. So if you need to go back and watch it again, it'll be there. Got about 5 of you who are idle and watch the thing. That's all right. Quizzes are coming. Everybody should be in Canvas reading over that section. Everybody. It's always the same people who come in, log in, and then just let their cameras sit. I've just published the question that I told you earlier that I was going to assign to you. So it has been assigned. Usually it's visible on your homepage, so check your homepage. All right, so you've got 4 questions to answer. Where is your medical examiner of Muskogee County? Where is it located? You don't tell me in Muskogee County. I need to know the address. What is the name of your current chief forensic pathologist? The person who's in charge of a station like that always has a chief, although they have several doctors assigned there. There is a chief. Do you have a coroner also? And if so, what is his name? And why? How are the duties of the coroner different from the medical examiner? All right, so that's your latest assignment. You can start working on it now, and it'll be due by Wednesday. Video we watched last week talked about the answer to that last question. So again, if you need to go back in the playlist and watch that video again, you can do that. It's available to you. All right, is anybody not able to find this assignment? Again, if it's not showing up for you, refresh your page. All right, your next Canvas unit also has information on the role of the medical examiner, so that might be helpful. But you're specifically looking for the what your county offices um, have available. Now, the one we watched in the Cobb County video was a very brand new one. Is yours as up to date as that? Is yours old, ancient? While you're looking it up, you might say it was first built in what year? Not only its location, but how long has it been there? Obstetrics has a female um, doctor. Lately, the big issue is women who die in childbirth. Hmm. All right, so again, the answer to this question is due Wednesday. Everybody should have had enough time um, to work on that before you depart class today, but it is due Wednesday. Emmeline asked a question about obstetric deaths. So I'm going to have an article for you to read. Like I said, it's been in the news lately about, so I put that article up for Wednesday, but it's been in the news a lot lately with deaths that are caused by um, pregnancies. So we're going to take a look at that. All righty.